Hello, everyone. My name is Betty Comerford. I'm your child's family and consumer science teacher. This is seventh grade family and consumer science. Before we get started on what we're going to be doing this quarter, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up on a farm in Illinois. I made my way to the East Coast after college, went to University of Illinois, and when I couldn't get a teaching job in home economics, I made my way to Washington, D.C. and worked there for 4 years. Then left DC, went back to school at University of Virginia and got my MBA and made my way to New York, where I worked in advertising for 10 years, followed by another 8 years in working in test kitchens, testing cooking products, and developing recipes. In 2003, I finally made my way into the classroom. I tell the kids it took me 25 years. But I think having the business side of my background has made teaching this curriculum also important. So I started at Greenwich in the Central Middle School and made my way down here to the Hommocks in 2008. So this is my 12th year. I live here in Larchmont. My three children went through Mamaroneck Public Schools. So I'm very much a member of the community and I absolutely love my job. I would say this year has been a little bit more challenging, but I have to tell you that your students are incredible. Your children are amazing about wearing masks and social distancing, and they are so eager to learn this curriculum. So let's start talking about what we're going to do. So this is not your grandmother's home ec class. It's certainly very different than when I was in home ec. It's part of career and technical education in New York State. It covers this wide range. It's a 3-year curriculum now. So last year in sixth grade, students had, each year we focus on a little bit different aspects, but we develop each aspect. Cooking is obviously very important, but we do cover individual growth and life readiness, human development and relationships, apparel and textile production and design, environmental design and management, nutrition and wellness, and food systems and production. So under individual growth and life readiness, these are like kind of life skills in terms of personal finance, budgeting, expenses. We cover career exploration, including looking at resumes, job applications, interview skills. We look at human development and relationships. This is social and emotional learning through self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, which are so important in the job market now, social awareness, and self-management. We have part of our curriculum is apparel and textile design. A big aspect of our program has always been our philosophy of garden to table. We have a small garden and we have a little greenhouse where we like to get kids involved in growing, harvesting, preparing, and sharing. It's always a big part of our aspect of growing food is helping kids understand that it's important to eat, healthy foods, veggie forward program, because kids don't get any nutrition from foods they don't eat. So we try to focus on that. However, I'm the first to acknowledge that I love baking and I like to share the importance of being able to treat yourself to a homemade baked good is so much more important than buying a processed food. We focus on sustainability with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have a program at school, not this year, but back next year, Green Tigers. Our culinary aspect focuses on 3 areas: health, safety, and wellness. Food safety, kitchen safety is obviously very important, as well as teaching them the knowledge of cooking. Not only is cooking and safety important, but it teaches them responsibility. It teaches them, to be knowledgeable enough to take care of themselves, all the things that you want your child to be able to manage themselves into adulthood. So let's talk about how this year is different. So in 2020, we've had to take safety precautions. In terms of cooking, we are not allowed to cook in class, but we will be showing kids in-class demos. And I'm also doing videos from home. I'll be sharing that we're focusing on techniques this year rather than specific recipes, because the one thing we learned from last year during the remote learning is if kids did not have the exact ingredients for a recipe, they were not able to participate in the at-home assignment. So this year, I felt it was more important to teach your children techniques and then have them go home and use that technique on whatever ingredients you have in the house. So that's how we're going to be starting. We're in the middle of doing safety right now and kitchen equipment. So you'll be getting some more information about our at-home assignments this week. So we've had to make modifications and alterations. We're still covering our curriculum. We've just had to modify it. As I said before, we're going to teach them basic skills and techniques. That's the 6th grade. Here's 7th grade. So we started the year with social emotional learning, going over values and gratitude. I hope many of you saw your children's gratitude journals and also the gratitude letter that they had to write to someone. We've talked about empathy. We've focused on vulnerability, trust, and emotional bravery when it comes to relationships and how to manage and look at relationships. We have looked at stress management because we find that many of the children today, I think they're more comfortable now that we're 4 weeks into school, but we've focused on techniques they can use for stress management and mindfulness. Now we have moved into our culinary and nutrition unit where we will cover knife skills and basic culinary techniques. And then finally, we end the quarter looking at life after high school when it comes to education and training options. They do a career matching. It's called Career Matchmaker, where they look at their interests and it matches up with careers. We look at more budgeting than we did last year, and we look at how to look at a rent versus mortgage and how that payment. And we're not focusing so much in this area, but it's actually a really fun activity where they look all across the country and we give them, what their payment is going to be and how far their money can go in that particular month. So in 8th grade, we'll be, next year, your child focuses more on a program that we have in conjunction with Stone Barns called Food Ed. So finally, I just want you to know that I grade basically a lot on everything is done in class, except I will be needing your participation when it comes to the at-home cooking assignments. Obviously, the children are not going to be allowed, students will not be allowed to cook at home unless there is a parent present. I'll be sending home more information about that this week, but I hope that you will encourage your child to participate in the cooking assignments. As always, for those students that are not able to cook, I will have a written assessment on the technique that they can take in lieu of participating in the cooking lab. 10% of their grade is on participation, and that's all the in-class work that we do. I don't have to focus so much on allergies because the students, even though I will demo a recipe, they will not be tasting it. Please reach out to me with any concerns. I'll reach out with any concerns, but I also want you to reach out with any concerns. I'll be sending home recipes along with the techniques. They don't have to make those, but I just want to give them an idea. If you use this technique, this is a recipe. I'll also be sharing some of my own favorite recipes and talking to kids about them. I love the cooking aspect of my job, and I hope that I can communicate that passion with your students. Feel free to ask me any questions by email. If students do cook at home, they can earn extra credit, but really the focus is really helping them build responsibility and learn things in class that they can then translate into their own home life and into adulthood. Thanks very much. I look forward to a great quarter.